This video is brought to you by that thing where your boss suddenly flies out to Los Angeles and then makes you go see a horror film, resulting in you not having to buy those extra strength laxatives after all. The It remake is finally here, a film some would say is the best Stephen King adaptation in over a decade. I say some would say because I had my eyes closed the entire time during the movie. I'm no good with horror movies. I really don't know why James made me do this. So James is off getting into fights with movies or whatever over on Screen Junkies and doesn't have any time to fill you in on the Easter eggs and references in this movie. So he has put it upon me, Ben from Canada, to inform you all on the Easter eggs and references to Stephen King's book and the story elements that were changed along the way. So let's get going. In the original miniseries, Pennywise is said to return to haunt the town of Derry every 27 years. Coincidentally, this version of It was released 27 years after the original 1990 miniseries. The release date itself is a reference to the original miniseries, and I think that is pretty cool. At some point after this version of Beverly Marsh gets a haircut, Finn Wolfhard's character Richie refers to her as Molly Ringwald, a reference to the actor Molly Ringwald, the star of 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, two John Hughes movies that the kids in this movie have probably seen. Sophia Lillis even kind of looks like her with the haircut. She kind of looks a little bit similar. Finn Wolfhard also gets into a shoving match with Jaden Lieberher's character, which is similar to a scene in Stranger Things where Finn's character Mike also gets into a fight with his friend, also just before the third act of the story. That's not really a reference. I just thought it was funny that two recent projects set in the 80s had virtually the same scene involving the same actor. However, it is interesting to note that the Duffer Brothers, the creators of Stranger Things, were originally dead set on directing the remake of It themselves, and only went on to make Stranger Things after the studios rejected them for not being experienced enough. In the dollhouse scene, one of the clowns closely resembles the original Tim Curry interpretation of Pennywise. There's a scene where Beverly's sink blasts approximately 50 gallons of blood up into the ceiling. This scene was present in the book, but it's shot as an homage to Nightmare on Elm Street after the guy gets sucked into his bed and blasted everywhere. That's really gross. Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is also showing in the cinema where Richie is playing Street Fighter. Throughout the film, we also see signs for Batman and Lethal Weapon 2. The slideshow scene is a direct homage to Stephen King's other book, The Sun Dog, where instead of a horrifying 20-foot tall murderous clown, it's a big dog that jumps out the projector. As a further homage, in this scene, Pennywise kind of barks at them and crawls on all fours. The phrase "beep beep Richie" is said to Richie by Pennywise during the final confrontation. This is a nod to the original book where the kids say "beep beep Richie" when they want him to shut up. In the final film, instead of coming up with a weird catchphrase to tell him to shut up, they just say, "Hey Richie, shut up, quit being a dumbass, and maybe help us figure out how to kill this clown that won't leave us alone. Aren't you scared? Why are you acting like you're in an improv class?"
Doesn't smell like caca to me, senor.
Now lastly, there are quite a few changes made to the original story in order to fit the runtime and also to make it a more cohesive chapter. First, this film just comprises of the book's first chapter, completely removing all the adult elements and just focusing on when they are kids. At the end of the film, right before the credits start, we see Chapter 1, an obvious nod to how the second part is going to be the second part, and how it's going to be probably called Chapter 2, and it's going to be of them as adults. One of the scenes from the book originally intended to be in this version was the smoke hole scene, where two kids get high and hallucinate Pennywise's alien origins. That's right, he's an alien. This was probably taken out due to aliens being weird, and the fact that monsters are generally scarier the less you know about them. Other things removed were the alternate forms Pennywise takes, such as the werewolf, the mummy, Frankenstein's monster, a whole bunch of leeches, and Gillman. And finally, the controversial sex scene involving all the children from the book was wisely cut from the film, definitely due to the fact that it is gross and weird, and nobody wants to see that. This film was floating around, get it? Like, this remake was originally announced in 2009, and in the original script there was a flashback at some point to the 1700s where Pennywise gets some backstory. This again was removed because Pennywise is scarier when you don't know anything about him or why he's doing this. In the final confrontation, Pennywise's hands briefly turn into spider legs, a nod to his final form as a giant spider-like thing that you have to hit with a slingshot and then kind of shove it onto its side, then just claw at it with your bare hands until it dies screaming in your arms. That was a weird bit of the movie. So that is It, the movie, and also that is It, the end of the video. What did you think of It? So this is not every Easter egg and or reference in the movie, as I am a newbie at this, and I've definitely missed a few things. So let me know any of the things I've missed down in the comments below. And if you missed James this week, make sure you check out his movie fight over on Screen Junkies. He puts up a good fight, and he wins a couple of them. I like all of his ideas, and I'm not just saying that because he's my boss, and he's paying my rent. And if you're interested in what I do, you can check out my own channel here. It's not really that interesting. I mean, it's pretty cool. I got a little short film there if you want to watch it. Have a good day. Thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Take care.